Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome of course to the all new season here on iRacing. Yes, new content has been released, a lot of changes have actually gone on in and around the sim, and of course over the next few days I'm going to be going through all of it. We've got 3 new cars this season, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 Evo, of course we've also got the all new Dallara IR15, I want to say it's called, and then last but not least, we have got the Ford Mustang GT4 car. 2 new tracks, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here, obviously lovingly known as the Mexico City circuit, and then of course Worldwide Technology Raceway as well. Now, I've gone and picked up all of the content, ready to make a few videos for you guys over the coming days, so yeah, if you're new to the channel, this is basically where I do a lot of iRacing stuff, so please do consider hitting that like button, getting yourself subscribed. As you can see in the background, we've come straight away here to the Mexico circuit. I'm going to take the Aston Martin Vantage out for a race today. We're then going to run the all-new IndyCar, or Junior IndyCar, at Worldwide Technology Raceway tomorrow. And then last but not least, I'm going to jump in with the Mustang. We're going to be looking through some of the other stuff as well, though there's going to be plenty of videos over the next few days because... 1, I think it's obviously really nice to showcase some of the content to you guys. And number 2... I need to learn where everything is now inside iRacing. The UI, for the first time in 17 years, has been changed in the sim. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say they hate it. From a couple of minutes of kind of playing around with it, it just seems like it's the old UI that looks a lot nicer, so I'm personally not going to complain, but far more importantly, I want to jump onto the circuit in this Aston Martin. Here we are then in the Aston Martin Vantage Evo then. Obviously, first of all, as always, we've got to do a bit of a sound test. Sounds pretty good. A few little pops and bangs there immediately. Must admit, first of all, do not like the font on that press and hold escape or reset to get out. That looks like something from mid-2000s R Factor, which I'm not big on immediately then, but rolling out on to the circuit, I will be doing a direct comparison between this circuit on iRacing and on the F1 games, but I must admit, I completely understand why it's come to iRacing. It's on the NASCAR schedule, so... iRacing gets pretty much every circuit, but it does work quite well. Very, very rarely have we seen a NASCAR and an F1 circuit at the same venue. Of course, we've got Circuit of the Americas, Watkins Glen, obviously many, many years ago, and I think that's it. Oh, well, there's probably a couple other that I'm forgetting that are hosted both in the past. So, yeah, this place, though, obviously, I know it fairly well from the F1 games. I'm sure, though, iRacing's version... the curbs are going to be very, very different. The circuit is going to be very, very different. Now, there are 7 iterations of the track inside the sim. You have got the Grand Prix one, which of course you get in Formula 1. The Grand Prix Classic one, which just goes round the stadium at the end of the lap. That's the one we're using today. You have then got the National one, I believe they call it, which is just the NASCAR layout. The National Classic, which again is the NASCAR layout, except for you go around the outside. Through the final couple of corners. You have then got the Formula E layout, rather excitingly, which is really, really cool to see inside the game. I believe, apart from, like, Long Beach, this is, like, the first Formula E circuit we've ever had in the sim. There's the oval layout, and then the oval kind of stadium layout, I believe they call it as well, which is a little bit peculiar, because it's kind of a half oval, and then, yeah, you've kind of got to deal with the stadium section as well, then, as we try and get the car out onto this front straight. I'm sure, 2024 Season 4, there is going to be a lot of racing going on around this circuit. It is going to be very, very popular, and that makes me a little bit nervous inside iRacing, because Turn 1 is going to be hilariously scary as well. That is making our way down. You can see already 245 kilometers an hour. Weirdly, doesn't actually feel as long as it does, that front straight, as it does on the F1 games. Now, I will say immediately, on the F1 games, this circuit is probably now the least accurate run in the entire game. It's so not like real life, it's painfully bad. I mean, you will have seen on the last lap, I actually almost went wrong down through the middle sector, because there's basically a corner on the F1 games that just doesn't exist, that's there IRL, which is a little bit weird. But yeah, so far, though, so good. As, you know, we've come to expect with iRacing, there's a certain level of polish to everything. You know, the atmosphere feels very, very real here. You know, it does look beautiful. Well, with 4K graphics, everything like that. The curbs as well, though. You can see why, you know, the IRL Formula 1 drivers don't tend to lean on the curbs as much as you do inside the F1 games. I mean, look at that. That corner. It's a real corner inside this sim. It's not like that on the F1 games. Again, that font at the top, I'm not a big fan of. It kind of, I think, is meant to look better than the old one, and honestly, I think looks worse because of it. But apart from that, most of the UI, like I said, it just seems like a cleaner version of the old one for the most part, which I think works quite nicely. Now, all your binds, everything like that should work still, as you've come to expect. So, first lap, a 1:39.9. I don't know if that's any good or not. I'm sure it's probably not, in comparison to a lot of people. But getting the tyres up to temperature as well on the car, so a bit like the McLaren then, this thing does have a kind of in-car tyre temperature monitor, which is fantastic. It's one of the main reasons I still like using the McLaren for GT3 racing inside the sim as well then. So yeah, it just gives you a little bit of a better idea about what to expect from the tyres as you make your way into the corners. Kind of the in-car dash, rather unsurprisingly, seems very, very similar to the Aston Martin GT4 car inside the game, but we've got so many GT3s inside iRacing now. I understand, you know, they're trying to go up against LMU and obviously ACC to a lesser extent now. It seems like ACC is a little bit over the hill, isn't as popular as it once was. But yeah, iRacing obviously trying to keep up with the hype, trying to keep up with the sheer quantity of GT cars that there are now in GT class racing. And well, luckily I'm going to go see some of them this very weekend up at Silverstone. Very much looking forward to the European Le Mans event. Wanted to show my support, so hopefully we get a World Endurance event back there in the next couple of years, which I would also love to go to in the future. But yeah, this final corner, I've never driven this before today. Obviously this doesn't exist on the F1 games. It is very, very cool though. I'm used to obviously the Formula E circuit having the chicane through that part of the lap as well, as immediately finding a little bit more time. Now, the Aston Martin, I'll be honest, I kind of came into this similar to the way the Aston Martin GT4 car handles very, very similarly to the Mercedes GT4 car. I kind of was expecting the GT3 car to handle similarly to the Mercedes AMG GT3 inside the game. I believe they've got the same engine, obviously a Mercedes V8. Yeah, I mean, they can only make the GT3 cars handle so differently to each other. Again, especially when they're built on the same platform. If you like the Mercedes AMG, obviously the Evo version inside the game, you're probably going to like this. If you don't gel as well with the Evo, then you're probably not going to gel as well with this car. Now, of course, this is also iRacing. This car will be the meta throughout the next season now. Obviously, we've got all these changes and all these new GT3 series inside the game, which are going to be very, very exciting to give a whirl. This car is going to be good throughout this first season. It's just always the way iRacing do things, because it means people buy the car. Obviously, they get through the first season, then it kind of gets brought back down to level playing with everything else. And then anybody that kind of likes the way it drives will stick with it, and anybody that doesn't won't. And it's, you know, it's understandable why they do that every time, but just be prepared. I would expect, obviously, therefore, because this car is going to be very good, I would assume, again, the Mercedes is going to be quite good. I would assume the Ford Mustang as well is going to be quite good over the course of next season. So there's all those little things you got to think about. Again, obviously, if you know, I've got like 2K iRacing. For me, it doesn't make much difference. But obviously, if you know, a really competitive racer or something like that, then obviously it is going to make a bigger difference as well there. But just food for thought as we get ready for the new season now. Like I said, it handles like any other GT3 car does inside the game. You know, front engine, everything like that. So, you know, it's not a particularly big handful once you got the tyres up to temperature. It drives pretty nicely. So this is on the default setup, which obviously I would never use normally inside the game. It has, you know, kind of got that inherent front engine, little bit of understeer that personally I quite like in the sim, or I quite like generally in my race cars, but I know a lot of other people aren't such a fan of. But for me, yeah, this thing works rather nicely there as well. You really can attack a lot of that curb. I'm trying to learn more and more about how much curb you can get away with around here, and to be honest, a lot of it, oh, you really can attack. I love how off camber that corner is. It's so difficult to try and get it spotted down through there, which, again, on the F1 game, you just do not get anything close to that inside that sim as well. So, dare I call the F1 game a sim? As everybody just immediately clicked off this video. I think that final corner has got to be third gear on the exit. It does seem to tighten up slightly off of the turn, so you got to be a little bit careful with that. So I mean, we're consistently down in like the low 136s, which I'm pretty happy with immediately there. Of course, this video though, it is meant to be a little bit of a buyer's guide for you, and like I said, Mexico, I think this circuit is going to be very, very popular over the course of the season. I think obviously they're going to put it in some of the NASCAR series as well. So, I mean, turn 1 in a NASCAR race here is going to be terrible. I would have thought turn 1 in any race, to be honest, is going to be absolutely terrible if you even make it that far. Because I would expect to see some chaos down, obviously, even on the run towards turn 1, people trying to move each other around. But if you can, stay out of trouble after that, the rest of the lap, I'll be honest, it's not the greatest for overtaking around here. Like I said, I think it's going to be very, very popular. It's going to be in all the Formula Series, everything like that for this first season. I don't know whether this track's got the real sticking power, though, to become like a hugely popular venue. Because, like I said, apart from on the run in towards turn 1, and maybe obviously in towards turn 4 as well, a lot of this track, there's nowhere to really look for opportunities, especially with the proper Grand Prix layout as well. Obviously, all that does is string cars out right at the end of a lap as well. So, I really don't know. I honestly, if I had to put money on it now, I think this track will be popular for the first season. And then I just don't think many people are going to want to drive it a lot after that. I don't think the racing is going to be the best round here. That being said, though, I think the car is quite good fun. Like I said, I like the Mercedes anyway. So this thing, I always knew I was going to probably quite enjoy inside the sim. But honestly, if, you are a bit more money conscious inside iRacing, I would suggest hold off, maybe for now, on both of these. I just don't think they're going to be the most popular ones in the world. Like I said, they are beautifully modelled and everything like that. With iRacing, you're paying a lot of money. You're going to get a good product. That is always going to be the case. But a good product and a popular product are two very different things inside the sim. So I would suggest, if you really want this Aston Martin, if you're a big Aston Martin fan inside the game, absolutely go for it. Although you might struggle to get much use out of Mexico necessarily, this circuit, the Aston Martin, you're going to be able to use it everywhere. It's going to be in the GT3 series. Obviously, we've got VRS. You've obviously got all these new regional fixed series as well with the 20-minute races. It's going to be a hugely popular car, and you're going to be able to get your money's worth out of the car. The circuit, though, yeah, I'm a little bit more pessimistic about, maybe. That being said, though, like I said, I would only pick up the car if you're a fan of the front engine, if you like the Mustang. I know it's been very OP this last season, but do you really enjoy driving it? Or are you just driving it because it's the meta? If you like driving the Mercedes as well, I imagine this thing is going to feel fairly safe in a similar way to that car. I mean, this thing really does attack the curbs rather comfortably as well there. I mean, we were able to get some good consistent lap times out of it, which is the most important thing at the end of the day. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings down on the comments below. Are you going to pick up this car? Are you going to pick up this circuit? I'm sure by saying all this and maybe just saying hold off for now, iRacing are never going to give me any access to any content ever. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is giving you guys my honest thoughts and feelings. Thank you all so much for watching. Get yourself subscribed. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be going in the all-new IndyCar around Worldwide Technology Raceway. And yeah, we'll be back very soon with more iRacing content.